All right, folks. Welcome back to Stream Catchers. Another review of Bad Batch coming at you. I am one half of your co-host AB, along with.
Hello there. I'm Jack. What's going on?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Doing really good. How about you?
Good, man. Really good. Episode 15, Return to Kamino. We are almost wrapped up with this show. How you feeling about it so far? What'd you
Feeling
think of this
really
episode?
good. I think this episode was a banger. It was really good, and it makes me optimistic about the finale, next week's finale. And also, I guess we should say, we found out that there's going to be a season 2 of the Bad Batch. Makes me a little optimistic about where the show's going.
We'll talk about that. When we get further into it.
Sure.
Yeah, season two. I'm glad, but also hopeful that it's a bit different than season one. Um, this episode itself is for sure the strongest one since the Cad Bane episodes.
Yep.
A lot happened. I think a lot of what we had kind of hoped for happened, and some other things that we weren't sure would happen happened. And um, yeah, it was a good episode. So let's just dive in. We'll do quick hits and then we'll just riff on it.
Let's do it.
So we pick up where we left off last episode, where Hunter is captured by the Empire. They're taking him to Kamino, and Crosshair. Like, who is the guy? Crosshair sends a signal out to the rest of the team to let them know where they're at, so he can spring a trap on them. Hunter, Echo, Tech, Wrecker, Omega all fly out to Kamino. They split up. They send Omega to the ship, or sort of have her stay behind, while the three of them walk right into Crosshair's trap. Crosshair's trying to get them to join him in the Empire and send Omega off on her own. And then, of course, Omega's devising a plan to try to get them out of the clutches of Crosshair and the Empire. She springs out. What are those androids called? Those droids?
Yeah, this is like the training room droids.
Yeah. So they're in the training room on Kamino, and these droids all come in after Omega activates them. They the batch and Crosshair have to fight them off. Crosshair and the batch work together, and then of course Hunter stuns Crosshair. Bit of a dynamic there where they want him to rejoin them, and he wants them to join him, and it's I wasn't expecting them to take that route, but essentially Crosshair gets knocked out, stunned, and then the Empire blows up Kamino, and that's how we end the episode. So quite a bit happened there. What do you think about Crosshair and where they're going with him?
I'm wondering if they're trying to do a redemption arc
That
for
was
Crosshair.
what I was kind of thinking too. And I think, man, it was probably week one or two of us reviewing this where I asked you if you thought he was going to get redeemed. And I think we both agreed probably not.
Hmm.
Um, that seems like they're trying to at least tease that that's an option, because
Yeah,
they revealed that his ship is gone. His inhibitor ship is no longer in there. So I don't know. I'm leaning more towards he might die at the end of the season.
so about his inhibitor chip, it looked like there was a scene where Hunter checks to see if he has a scar, and they kind of do a little close up of his burn scar, and it makes like his burn scar is in such a place where you wouldn't be able to tell if his inhibitor chip scar was there or not.
Right. And so I'm actually kind of glad they did that, because when they had that episode where he got burned and
Hmm.
they just didn't follow up with it seemed like such a big thing to happen and then have no follow up. So I was like, well, that's a little bit of a letdown. But that's a good point, right? Like, what if the chip itself is telling him to say that there is no chip, and so they're
Yeah,
unsure if they have to actually get the chip out or not.
yeah. Like what if Crosshair's playing like a long con, with them, and his chip is in there active, and he's lying of his own free will, or programmed to lie, or something. I don't know.
It's interesting. I don't know. I'm pleasantly surprised that they're going that route. I didn't think that was on the table, I guess to say.
Hmm.
It seemed like it was very much going to be, he is no longer a part of the team. He is aligned with the Empire, and maybe will die at the end of the season. I think there's a chance he definitely doesn't make it though at the end of the season.
If he does die at the end of the season, I hope it's after being redeemed. I hope he gets his little redemption, makes good with the Bad Batch, and makes good with Omega, and then dies heroically. I think that would be really good for the show.
The death being the redemption, right? Maybe he has to save
Yeah,
them or something. Yeah, I think
exactly.
I think that's the likely route. I'm a bit curious though, because obviously they're inside Tapoka City on the Kamino, and it's being blasted by those dreadnoughts. And
Hmm.
so obviously they're gonna have to make it off Kamino, right? But I also don't like what do you think is the end game on this season? Because it feels like what the way this ended was how the season would end. But given that Crosshair is with them, like how do you see this ending? Where do you see this going? What is the final boss, so to
In the
speak?
context of like what's going to happen next week in general, or like what's the end game for the Empire? Like why do they want to destroy Kamino? What are you asking? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Like who's the final boss? Like who do they have to go and stop? I mean, is it
Probably
Rampart?
Rampart, I guess.
I suppose I
He
don't know.
seems like such small potatoes, though. Especially in a universe where they've alluded to Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader, and they've shown Tarkin a lot. Rampart seems like small potatoes, but maybe he'll be the big bad. Quotey fingers.
And I guess he's the obvious choice for me. I guess it's more about why would they go after him? What would that do?
Right.
He doesn't have anybody for them to go rescue. I mean, I suppose if he has uh the clone, what was the clone that was arrested? The Reg a couple episodes ago.
Oh, Gregor.
Not Gregor. He was the one that they got away with Gregor.
Oh,
It was
Hauser.
in the how yes, Hauser. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
unless they want to go and try to save him and those other clones, but I just don't understand why they would fly to Rampart. Why would the six of them go into Empire territory?
Yeah. I think that it would be really interesting to see a shootout between uh, some turncoat clones versus some TK troopers. I think that would be really cool. But it doesn't seem like it's building to that.
Right.
After having
And
seeing episode 15, I don't think that's where they're going. But I could be wrong.
sure. I guess my whole thing is they have no reason to seek out Rampart, and Rampart would presume them dead, right? So
Yeah.
why would he continue to pursue them? I think my best guess would be that they try to go somewhere that they can pull the chip, a supposed chip, out of Crosshair,
Hmm.
and they get ambushed by some stormtroopers. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be good to see a stormtrooper in the next episode. That would be really cool to see that evolve
Yeah,
from the ES soldiers and the TK soldiers. Now we got actualized stormtroopers. I think that would be really cool.
absolutely. Yeah, I guess I'm just really curious as to what I'm more curious than excited about this last episode because they leave us on a cliffhanger. We would
Hmm.
presume that they have to escape Kamino and Will. You would assume since we have a season two, right?
Oh yeah,
um,
sure.
but I just don't know where they go from there. But I guess that will remain to be seen, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of exciting to not know where this is heading. I mean, I feel like we've called quite a bit of this show. We've predicted quite a bit of this show's angles, but I still do think they're going to bring it back to Omega. I think that she's going to have. I feel like there's one more thing about Omega we don't know yet. I don't know if it'll be like a backstory thing or something she doesn't even know about herself, but I do think we're going to find something more about Omega in the finale.
Any fun guesses? Any?
Uh, I've kind of abandoned the idea that she would be a Force user. I don't.
Yeah.
I think if that was going to happen, we would have seen some allusion to that by now. I maybe it'll be something about her relationship with Nala Se, because she's a captive of the Empire right now, if I remember right.
Yeah. So that's a
So
route that they could take. They have to go save Nala Se.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Sid will get a distress beacon from Nala Se, and that'll be the final mission or whatever.
Actually, I think that's probably likely now that I think about it. It was right as you were about to mention Nalase. I was like, oh yeah, Nalase, and then you
She's
said it.
just
So
she's like the only loose end that I can think of. I mean,
yeah,
there's also, I mean, we talked about it in past weeks that they haven't come back to Saw Gerrera. They haven't come back to the bounty hunters yet. And even after watching this episode, I don't feel like we need that, but I do feel like Nala Se is a more important loose end for the end of this season.
by now I feel like Saw is definitely like not a factor anymore, and
Yeah.
I don't see any path to having the bounty hunters come back either.
Hmm.
It really does feel like we're down to the Batch, Crosshair, and probably a Nalase rescue mission.
Hmm.
Um, and as far as like an Omega revelation, I guess I just don't see what else it could be outside of she's a Force user. I mean, we know she's a clone. We know she's one of them. We know that she has Django's direct DNA, so there's ties to Boba. Um, I just don't see that there being another layer there. I don't know what it could be. I don't know. I feel like we know what we need to know about her,
Hmm.
but I mean, yeah, I could be wrong. Maybe there is some like drastic, but it's not going to be that Nala Say is her mom. That's obviously not the case. So
No,
outside of something that ground, I just can't see anything else coming out of that.
I don't know. It's just an inkling. I mean, I'm not really going
Sure.
on much. It's just that it seems like these past few episodes haven't been Omega heavy, so I'm wondering if they're going to bring it back to her because she's kind of she's kind of the main character of the show in a
I
way.
guess that's fair. I don't know. It really feels like, especially over the last several episodes, it really feels like there is no main character. They tried very much to make it be about the batch with a little bit of emphasis on Hunter and Omega, but
Hmm.
for the most part, it doesn't feel like we have a main character. It feels like the sum of the parts is really the
Yeah.
most important part of the whole show. But this episode, I felt like did a really good job with Omega because it forced her to have to make decisions to save the day, which is something that I had talked about. That's where the show really had a lot of strengths earlier on, and so being
Yeah.
able to see them do that again here, where she had to come up with a plan, release those droids, and
Hmm.
she got to use her little laser bow, and
Yeah, which I was gonna
uh,
say didn't actually help them because they were already they had
that yeah,
already the Imperial soldiers were already dealt with by then.
she's about as useful as I am in a game of COD or something. Like I'm good for one kill, but that's
Hmm.
about it. So it was good to see her back in the mix, back in the fold, actually contributing,
Yeah.
and getting to see her use her intuition and instincts to further the battle or the whole plot along.
Right. It was kind of her that's been her MO is she's told to stay in the ship, she's told to get out of the way and get help when they need it, and she's decided, I can help. I am the help, and yeah, she
Exactly.
did pretty good this time. I mean, a little too much, too late, but made for an exciting shootout at the end.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean this wasn't a more action heavy episode, and so the whole sequence where they had to team up with Crosshair, I think that was the highlight of the episode. It was just
Yeah.
cool because it seems like he's got him, he's going to kill them, and then he kills the troopers that are in the training room with them to kind of show them,
with
hey,
with the sweet ricochet shot that kills them all in one shot.
just incredible. Yeah, just be like, hey guys, I like let's get back together, right? Let's give this relationship another shot. Just
Yeah.
another try at making this work, and you do feel like he actually does want that, because even it surprised me when he said that he was going to send for a safe way for Omega to go off and be safe away from all of this, saying she's a kid, she doesn't
Yeah.
need to be around this. So it does seem like he's not totally an evil bastard, right?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, but it just, I don't know. I go back and forth with Crosshair. He's really hard to read, because I mean he does have this like brotherly relationship with his team, that he clearly misses. But he also has this weird, undying allegiance to the Empire, which is just never going to work out. I mean, the badge is never going to go Empire.
Unless he sees that they were okay with killing him.
Yeah, maybe that's something that we need to talk about. So, some big revelation for Crosshair has to happen before he's redeemed, right? He has to be betrayed by the Empire in some way, or his
being left for dead
his,
feels like a betrayal. I mean, they were going to blow the
maybe
whole place up.
Maybe I hadn't considered that. I don't know.
They had been conspiring to kill him as well. Rampart had no allegiance to him. So Crosshair, when he comes to and the badge says, "Hey, yeah, they left you for dead. They don't care about you." Maybe that is the way for him to say, "All right, screw it. Let's give this a shot and let's take them down," or whatever they.
Maybe that's it. Maybe you're right. I hadn't thought of it. I have not thought of it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked the way that this episode ended on the big cliffhanger with the Kamino research facility getting obliterated. I liked all the dramatic shots of the different settings inside the research facility before it was destroyed. But it would have been nice to have maybe a little extra, Crosshair coming to and having one last conversation with Hunter before the close of the episode. But I do think that this dramatic note was probably the best way to go about it. I think next episode is going to be a banger as well.
Yeah, I think that this was the clear way that they had to end it. I mean, I think that you saved that moment for next week. You got to leave us something to look forward to, keep us wanting more.
Right.
So I think next week we can expect quite a bit, right? We can expect to see that Crosshair tension perhaps resolve. I think I personally am going to believe them and believe that his inhibitor chip is gone.
Okay.
I'm not gonna, and if it's a swerve, it's a swerve, but unless next week episode is an hour like the first episode, it feels like a lot to ask for them to come to find a ship, remove the chip, and then go on the mission. And it seems like there's a whole lot that has to happen if they're going to make it, unless it's going to be a shorter 25, 28-minute episode. So
yeah, I don't know. I would love an hour. I would love an hour long one.
If it's an hour, it's an hour. I don't know if I'm kind of ready for it to be done. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I get that too. I mean, we've been watching it for 16 weeks now, or 15 weeks now.
Yeah. It started May 4th. It was the first episode. So it's been 3 months and a few days. So
yeah,
it's been a long haul. High points, low points. Overall enjoyable. I guess we can save season 2 speculation for next week. But
I hope so, because I have no speculation at this point.
There's no, yeah. I mean, until we know how this ends, there's no reason to really to speculate on that. But do you have a wish list for things you want to see next week or anything else?
Next week, I'm praying for the Crosshair redemption and death. I think that's going to be the best way for his character to wrap up.
All right. I think we're both on the same page there. I think I can see that happening because I mean, season 2, can you really see it being all 6 of them on that small ship and plus the droid they just got?
Yeah, and if it's going to be, and if Crosshair's not going to be redeemed or turned or whatever, it's going to make for a really stale season 2 if that's going to be the conflict again.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I feel like that they have to do something with Crosshair. They have to wrap that up, unless maybe they kill Wrecker or Echo or somebody like that.
I mean, they could still, they could do that and have a really good dramatic close to one of those stories, but I don't see that happening. I wouldn't put any money on that.
No, I don't think that's going to happen either. I don't, especially knowing season 2 is coming. I can't imagine. I think Crosshair is the most likely person. If there's going to be a death, it'll be him, and hopefully at least he's redeemed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I had. Did you have any other things you want to talk about?
Let me scan my notes real quick. Well, I guess maybe a talking point here. The cloning technology is firmly under Imperial control. Do you think that is a direct order from Palpatine so that he can start figuring out cloning technology for himself and for the smoke or the Snoke gambit?
That's actually, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I had forgotten they had done that.
It
Yeah,
was a
they shut
small
down.
line of dialogue. Yeah.
They shut down Kamino completely, which is why they decided to blow it up. They evacuated everybody, and blow them up, blow up the batch, and it's not a problem anymore. And so I hadn't really put any thought to it, but as soon as you brought it up before you even said Palpatine, I was like, oh yeah, cloning. He cloned himself and Snoke and all those things. So I think probably, yeah, I think that's got to be a direct order from Palpatine. I'm sure he's invested in that technology.
That's likely why Nala Se is even still alive.
Yeah, I think so too. So perhaps the batch is going to have to try to save her.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good. No, I'm glad you brought that up because that was a small line, but definitely important part of the episode. So.
Yep,
we'll
that's all I've got. That's the last of my notes.
Cool. All right, folks. Well, thanks for sticking with us to the end. If you did, hope you enjoyed the episode. Let us know what you thought of this episode, episode 15, Return to Kamino, and of the podcast. As always, if you want to support the podcast, the best way to do so is to let your friends know. Anybody that enjoys Star Wars or Marvel, let them know what we're doing over here. We really appreciate it. If you want to leave a review on iTunes, 5 stars helps us go a long way. And other than that, folks, I guess we'll just catch you next week for our season finale of the Bad Batch.
Yeah, can't wait. We will catch you later.
Bye.